Hi, I'm Bill Sheriff, Chairman and CEO of Golden Predator. Welcome to Gold Dome, our premier project in the Yukon for the 2010 season. I'll come back to this property in a minute, but first I want to discuss Golden Predator in general. We're an exploration company with a very strong focus on the Yukon. We believe, in fact, this will be the area where the first world's best place to look for gold is over the next 2 or 3 decades. In fact, we think you'll see a remarkable comparison to what happened in Nevada during the 1970s through the last couple of decades. In fact, about 100 discoveries were made, and I think you're going to see the same sort of success rate in the Yukon. So we're quite glad to be right on the threshold of that new beginning. Golden Predator has its roots in Nevada. We still have a few operations there. We have one drill turning this summer where we're looking for high-grade epithermal bonanza vein deposits. We have a bit of a niche there, and that's what we'll be doing there. So stay tuned for some of the developments out of Adelaide, Golden Ridge, and a new project, Dome Hill, as well as one project in Wyoming. These are all fairly small, very focused programs because the bulk of our exploration is on the Yukon, where we see the future of the company to be evolving. A couple of things I would like to point out is, while I'm on Nevada, is the royalty trust. It's certainly a foundation. Right now we're getting in excess of $1.5 million a year off of royalties. Most of these royalties go back quite some time to the Lyle Campbell Trust in the early 70s. These are take-in-kind, pay-in-kind royalties. 2 of them are with Barrick. One is with Midway Gold, and one is with U.S. Gold on Tonkin Springs. If you look out a number of years, 3 to 4 years out, we're looking at substantial increases in production as Midway's announced production plans for the Pan deposit, where we have a 4% gross royalty. And the Barrick Bald Mountain mine is likely to go into production in that same time frame. So if you're making certain assumptions and you look out, we should certainly have an excess of $10 million a year of revenue coming in from the royalty package. Just to touch lightly on Nevada, and I'll move into the Yukon. The Yukon, as I say, is our focus. It's our bread and butter. It's where we plan to build the company and turn it into a mid-tier gold company. One of the key assets we have here, and I'm not going to belabor the point of the board of directors, it's in your materials and in the PowerPoints that are available, but we're very, very fortunate to have Pierce McDonald, a former premier of the Yukon, on our board. And the Yukon is such a special place that someone with his expertise and navigating the governmental situation here is certainly very much a benefit that we enjoy. Yukon presents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be on the beginning edges of what proves to be a major gold rush. I look forward to 20 to 30 years of unprecedented mineral discovery in a first world jurisdiction. I don't think you'll find any other jurisdictions on the planet that are as politically stable and favorable for mining as we have here in the Yukon, coupled with the untapped mineral wealth that's basically been lying here for, well, ever since the original Klondike placer strikes over 100 years ago. We have 6 properties that we're actively drilling in the Yukon this year. The first one I guess I should talk about is the Cynthia deposit. It's in east central Yukon. It's a rather large property, about 220 claims, which is located about 3/4 of the way to the Northwest Territories from Keno. It's a property that has not seen any drilling. It's a very exciting property with 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers of intense alteration, silicified limestones, gossinous areas cut by a number of veins with rather remarkable gold mineralization, typically 1 to 4 grams in rock chip samples, up to 16 grams in select samples of rock. We've just wrapped up drilling at our Cynthia project and will begin a short drill program at the Grew Creek project during September and October. Get into some of our lead projects where we're currently drilling. Gold Dome, where I'm addressing you from today. You may see hole 22 in progress behind us. It's a diamond core hole that's being drilled right now on the Hawthorne zone. You may also see the Tom zone in the background, and you may be able to see our camp in the background as well. We'll be drilling here. We've been drilling for several weeks, and we'll be drilling certainly through October, and may very well drill year-round here depending upon the results. We do have road access to this property, which is a major benefit for us as well, enables us to bring in RC drilling, which we're conducting over the ridge behind the camera at this point. Gold Dome's roots go back quite a ways. Placer gold was originally discovered here in 1906 and has been in continuous production ever since, yet there's no known source to the mineralization. This is very important, and you see that pattern repeat itself throughout the Yukon. A number of our projects are very similar with important placer deposits and no known source. The placer gold here does drain the dome that we're standing on. This dome was recognized in 1980 as a mineralized dome, and yet there are only 65 drill holes to date on the project, not counting the ones we've put in this year. That's very little drilling for a property in 30 years, especially one this large. The anomaly here is over 30 square kilometers. And the property position is in excess of 150 square kilometers. Just a couple of other projects I certainly want to highlight while we're here at Gold Dome in the Yukon. Not too distant from us is the Clear Creek project, another one of these sourceless placer deposits that indeed is draining a dome that has coincidentally 65 drill holes on it, and a large number of those, probably a third of them, actually bottomed in a gram per ton or better. Relatively shallow drilling. We're just wrapping up our 6th diamond core hole there of oriented core so that we can determine the preferred orientation to mineralization, and then we're going to follow that up with a rather significant RC program. Hope to build on an existing historic resource of lower grade material by a previous operator. Here again, very, very limited drilling, so we're quite encouraged by that. Drilling is also going on as we speak at a Brewery Creek project located near Dawson City. This former producer produced almost 300,000 ounces of gold between 1996 and 2002 when it was closed due to low gold prices. We've gone back in. The mine property is reclaimed. However, importantly, they did leave the production license and the water license intact, so we're permitted to resume operations there. We have an existing 43101 resource of just shy of 300,000 ounces. We have a two-pronged approach at Brewery Creek. We're looking for a deeper mixed oxide and mixed sulfide deposit, somewhat analogous to the International Tower Hill deposit over in Alaska. The other focus of our program is certainly to expand the oxide resource that's already in existence at Brewery Creek with an eye to resumption of production in a few years. One of the projects that we picked up recently was the Grew Creek project. We're going through this project that's had fairly significant work done by a number of very significant companies, and they have yet to put it into a 3D computerized model. And it's a structurally controlled ore deposit, so we feel very confident that we can go in, integrate all the data into a modern computerized database, establish what's needed to bring the historic resources up to a modern 43101 standard, and we look forward to working on this next year after we compile all the data this year.
Our newest acquisition is the Rogue Regional property, which encompasses no less than 6 distinct project areas. This brings our entire Yukon property position to 12 separate projects contained within. We will continue advancing our major drill programs while conducting basic geologic work on our pipeline of future properties as we advance them to drill-ready status.
A project that we have is Antimony Mountain. This is a Sean Ryan project that was brought to us by the local prospector of some notoriety these days. He was responsible for the underworld discovery and also the Kaminak discovery, which really kicked off the new boom in the Yukon. I think it's important to realize that we're talking about the new boom in the Yukon, that there's a number of governmental factors that have really opened up the government to, and in fact the territory, to a modern exploration boom that we're enjoying now. Principally among those is devolution, where the federal government ceded their regulatory power to the territorial government so that we now have one window permitting. It greatly streamlines the permitting process, and in fact I would compare the permitting in the Yukon to, on a very favorable basis, to just about anywhere in the world at this point. Another couple of factors that came along were the assessment grouping of claims. Formerly we were limited to 12 claims in one assessment grouping, which meant that you had to do your assessment work on every group of 12 claims, and now you are allowed to do much larger groups. This is allowing major modern exploration to come in. And third, of course, is First Nations land settlement agreements, which have been enacted by 11 of the 14 First Nations in the Yukon, and that has also increased the territory's vision in terms of going forward in the mining business. Golden Predator has a very proactive relationship with the First Nations, and I think we have are on the cutting edge of not only exploration in the Yukon, but certainly in terms of our proactive involvement with the First Nations. We employ a good neighbor policy. I mean, basically we're moving into their backyard and conducting our business and attempting to exploit the wealth of the Yukon. We certainly have a large number of our employees that are residents of the Yukon, so it's our backyard, but more to the point with the First Nations, they've been here for generations after generations, and they're going to continue to be for many years. And it's just a simple, good policy to basically make them, working interests in the projects, and going forward together. It certainly will help all parties involved, and we look forward to bringing economic benefit not just to our shareholders and our employees, but certainly to the Yukon and all of its inhabitants. Golden Predator is environmentally responsible. We use best industry practices and believe that we go actually a step further than that. As I've mentioned, a number of our employees live in the Yukon and call it home, so we're quite sensitive as to the environment that we find and leaving it as close to that once we're done as possible. There's immense mineral potential here, but quite frankly, it can't be won at any cost. It has to be done in a responsible manner, and here again, we're leaders in terms of responsible and proactive management of the resources and in the extraction of the mineral wealth of the territory. One thing I would like to mention, we are a founding member of the Yukon Gold Mining Alliance. This is something that is a group of 7 companies that have 43101 resources in the territory. And we've come together to actively promote the Yukon and encourage you to take a look at all of our materials, which are available in our booth here. And do your own due diligence, but stop by the booth and talk to us. In closing, I'd like to give you a few statistics on the stock itself.
Golden Predator currently has 69 million shares outstanding with no debt. Almost 60% of our shares are held by the top 10 shareholders, so we have a very minimal float.
And we trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the symbol GPD. And we have significant shareholders, Front Street, Sprott Asset Management rather, and US Global are all listed on insider filings. And management itself owns about 10% of the stock as well. I encourage you to take a look at the Yukon and our properties in particular. I think you'll be impressed and look forward to having you as shareholders. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Carey. I'm a senior geologist with Golden Predator. I'm a project manager at the Gold Dome project. It's located just outside of Mayo in the Yukon. Our target at Gold Dome is gold, as the name implies. Right now we've got an extensive drilling program that's ongoing. We plan on drilling about 9,000 meters this year. We're about halfway through that program right now. This year's program we're going to use both core drilling and RC drilling. We hope to basically split the program in two with about 4,500 meters of each. The 2009 program at Gold Dome, we had a discovery hole in the Tom zone. In that hole we intersected 25 meters of 11.7 grams of gold. In this year's program we're following up with offset holes to that, both core and RC. We've got 2 core holes that have offset that significant distances that have both returned encouraging alteration, and assays are pending right now. Work to date this year at Gold Dome is going very well. We're looking forward to getting the drilling finished up, getting all of our logging and assays out the door and start working on our model and thinking about next year, following up on this year's drill results and then moving back out into this target-rich environment that we have here, and to continue to develop new drill targets for the 2011 year.